This is The Big Bad Boot.
We're siblings who explore spooky and scary stories, urban legends, tall tales, and true crime, all located in this crazy state that's shaped like a boot. A podcast about the weird state you wish you were from.
Hosted by the weird siblings you wish you had. All right. Well, episode what? 6?
7.
7.
We're losing count. That's how many we already have.
Losing count because I'm drinking this delicious beer.
It really is so good, though.
It's so good. And you aren't either. Neither of us are like super duper beer drinkers until Gnarly Barley.
Yeah. I'm fully convinced that was like a half reason as to why my husband asked me out on a first date, because when we were chit-chatting and I said I lived in Hammond, he was like, that's where Gnarly Barley is.
That's where they make gnarly barley.
That's where they make gnarly barley. And I was like, yeah, like, because to us, it's like no big deal. It's like always been around, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm fully convinced that gnarly barley is one of the reasons I have a husband. So
Oh,
thanks.
wow.
My
Zach
husband,
and Carrie.
Yeah, my husband drinks a
making
lot
love
of GB.
happen since 2000 and whatever.
It's been over 10 years.
Wow. That's crazy. That's awesome.
And thanks to them for helping us throw a really sick launch party, by the way.
It was so fun.
We had the best time.
We did. I can't believe that many people actually like us.
Like, this is not us having a humble brag. We are genuinely shocked that many people showed up.
Like, I started tearing up when we stood up on that like stairwell and saw everybody. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, like Carrie, one of the amazing owners of Gnarly Barley, the husband and wife team, she told me that there were so many people there that they had to start pouring in plastic glasses.
Oh, I was one of them.
And they've never had to do that before.
I know. That's crazy. That also makes my heart smile.
You love us. You really love us.
And it's actually our friend.
I know.
I love it.
And if you'd like to become our friend, keep listening, keep downloading. We're having a lot of fun. We got a lot of new emails since the premiere. That's been
my favorite part of this week, is answering emails. I love it because I'm like, wow, people are actually listening to us.
I know.
Like, it's working.
World domination. It's working.
Phase 1.
Phase 1. What is it on Mean Girls? Army of Skanks. Hot Girl Bod. I forgot what it is. Shoot. I'll get it. It'll come to me.
And my friends, the Army of Skanks.
But we had so much fun and we are so excited. But if you have any ideas of stuff you'd like us to research, if you want to share your own Louisiana silly, spooky, scary story, it's thebigbadboot@gmail.com.
And those are really starting to roll in. Like,
to the point where Caleb had to make a little folder, which I'm proud of you.
Story suggestions.
I know.
Yeah, I went in that Gmail. I said, listen here, Linda. I knew you were going to be impressed.
I am very impressed by organization. It makes my heart happy.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Well, how was your Labor Day?
It was good. Played a lot of tennis.
Good.
And after that, took like a monster nap.
Nice.
Which was much needed. So it's been good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mine was good.
It
was good. Nothing much. Just kind of hung out with friends. But okay, hot take, do short weeks at work stress you out?
Never.
Okay. So I'm in like the 1% here because I have been so stressed the past 2 days.
Because you had Monday off?
Just because, which I love and I appreciate.
Yeah.
And it's like stress that doesn't even need to happen, but it makes you want to go like get blitzed at Chili's. Or
Triple
something.
dipper.
Like me,
the margaritas they make in a bucket on the floor.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Corner booth. Margaritas.
We can do that after this.
Blitzed. We leave there. Go to another Chili's. 2 for $20, mama. More margaritas.
We don't drive, though.
What's that outside? Oh, that's our Uber. Where's he taking us?
There you go. Chili's.
Chili's number 3. Molten lava cake. More margaritas.
Speaking of Chili's, that is, which we all know, that would be my drag name. If I was a drag queen, it would be Chili's to go. We've talked about that before.
We have. That is a good one.
Isn't it?
HOTTOGO.
Chili's to go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well.
But, I mean, short work weeks don't stress me out simply because, A, I have a wonderful boss at my day job who, you know.
Like, I do too.
But.
Live, love, Robert, if you're listening, love you, mean it. Thanks for the days off. Oh, yeah.
I think it proves, once again, that the American workforce, the American work week does not need to be 5 days.
No.
I can get done. If I know I'm going on vacation, and I'm leaving on Friday and I'm taking off work.
Oh.
Whatever I need to get done for that week is going to be done by Wednesday.
My keyboard is smoking.
I mean, to me, it's like motivation to get your work done and do it well so you can truly be off when you're off.
All panic, no disco. Getting the work done.
Yeah. So that, I don't know. It just depends. It depends on like why you're taking off, why. And there's seasons.
That's true.
You're in a really busy season for what you do.
I am. I'm in the middle of that season that shall not be named.
For those of you that don't know,
it happens.
Caleb is an insurance agent. And if you know anything about Louisiana, there's these little things that happen once a year, twice a year, 3 times a year that make things go cray-cray. And that's a huge part of Caleb's job. So
we're watching the Gulf right now. Everyone say a prayer.
Peace and blessings. You're doing great, sweetie.
Well, today.
Yes.
Because we might as well just dive right in.
Let's do it.
This is a juicy one. Like, I cried like a baby researching this.
What is this?
So this is the story of Charity Hospital during Katrina.
Shut up.
Yes. And I do want to say, I want to dedicate this episode fully to the staff of Charity.
Yes.
I don't think you could make better people. It's insane. Like, I want to meet every single person that I research and shake their hand or hug their neck and tell them I love them. It was amazing. And shout out to Tori and the Obsession Boutique.
Did they suggest this episode?
They did. I emailed them back and I was like, y'all got some voodoo going on or something? They emailed us 30 minutes before we came in the studio today and was like, we have a list of things that we'd love for y'all to hit. We love the podcast. Charity Hospital was number 1.
Tori Bishop.
Like, girl.
If y'all are ever in Hammond, Louisiana, and you're looking for a cute boutique and you want to go get some cute game day merch.
True.
I spend a lot of money at Obsession Boutique and have over the years. Thank you, Tori. That was very sweet. Well, you got your wish. You're a little psychic.
Right.
So how old? I'm trying to think back. So Katrina was in 2005. You were,
I was in 3rd grade.
Okay. And I was a freshman in high school.
Yes.
So I was like 13, 14.
2005.
2005 in August.
Trying to think. I think I was 9 years old.
Okay. And
3rd grade's, 9 years old. That's a 3rd grade age, right?
That's a 3rd grade age.
Yeah. That's what I was.
So we are not from New Orleans.
No.
Like, we live on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain, and we still do, but when Katrina hit, we lived in Ponchatoula in the house that we're in now.
What they call the North Shore.
Yes, this is the North Shore of the lake. Katrina did not affect where we lived in the way that it affected New Orleans by any means, which I'm sure you'll get into.
Yes.
But
Katrina was a wind event for us.
We saw the aftermath of that. Like, we felt it so deeply, and we were just 45 minutes away. So I can't even imagine, my husband's family lives in New Orleans. Like, there's so many people that we know that we're close with, related to, or peripherally, whose lives were like completely changed by this hurricane.
Oh, absolutely. It was horrible.
But these are like the stories that I like because it shows like the goodness of humans in the face of like craziness.
Yes, it does.
And I have a few things I've heard, but I haven't actually like delved into it. Like, I'm excited for you to do.
Well, let's get right into it.
Let's roll. Hold on. Wait.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And I'm going to try not to cry. That's real because it's hard looking back on something that you saw happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because
like I remember mom and dad plugging up the TV to one of the only outlets that worked in the house because we were running off of a generator. And I remember mom just staring at footage of New Orleans, just crying.
We watched it that's all we did.
Ugh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Before this turns into a just Hurricane
And good on
Katrina
you for
episode.
tackling this one. This is like a biggie.
It is a biggie.
Yeah.
It is. Well, to start, Charity Hospital, if you are not from Louisiana, it's was a gigantic hospital in New Orleans. At one time, it actually, they think, was the biggest hospital in the world.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Think about how, picture Big Charity in your head.
Right.
how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's massive. The people of New Orleans lovingly call Charity Hospital Mother Charity. And I love that because one of the accounts that I saw in my research was this sheriff that was talking, and he said that Mother Charity has given birth to most of the city and gave life to most of the dying in the city.
Aw.
So everyone calls her Mother Charity.
Cool.
Their motto is where the unusual occur and miracles happen. Meh.
Aw.
I know. Charity Hospital was founded on May 10th, 1736.
Wait, that was before America.
Yeah. So that was, let's see, that was 18 years after New Orleans was founded because it was still occupied like and ran by France at the time. This was before it was even Spanish.
Right.
That was 40 years before the birth of our nation.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like...
And then the Louisiana Purchase was until after that.
Yeah, 18...
Right. I don't know. I feel like we've talked about it before.
Yeah, for sure. This hospital was the second oldest occupied and functional hospital, only beat by Bellevue Hospital in New York City by 1 month.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Okay.
So like this place is super, super old, and it's got a lot of different locations and blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to like breeze through those really quick to get those out of the way. So, well, first it was opened because Jean-Louis, who was a French shipbuilder and sailor.
Kudos on that pronunciation, brother.
Thank you. He had it in his last will and testament that he wanted a hospital that would care for the indigent of New Orleans.
The indigent?
The indigent.
That's
the indigent.
The
and
indigent.
the unclaimed. That's from Bernie. But that's so sweet.
That is like, I mean, of course I want to have money. Like I want to be rich, but like if I ever am to a point where I have that much money, it's like, that's the kind of stuff you want to do. Like you can't take it with you.
Exactly.
Like help somebody.
Because I have another quote in here too, which it goes back to that point. They never asked you, how do you plan to pay? They never asked you, who do you have as an insurance carrier?
What a novel idea for healthcare.
Free healthcare. What's that?
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Gnarly Barley Brewing. If you're a beer drinker here in Louisiana, chances are you've enjoyed one of Gnarly's famous brews, like Jucifer, Catahoula Common, or my personal favorite, the Strawberry Catahoula Common. Since 2014, the amazing Zach and Carrie Caramonta have been cranking out delicious beers. And in 2023, Gnarly Barley was named the Louis Award winner for Louisiana Attraction of the Year. If you're looking for a fun place to hang out, visit their tap room in Hammond, Louisiana. I can personally attest to the good vibes because we visit the tap room several times a month. Swing by the Dinar across the street for some mouthwatering food available Thursday through Sunday, and grab a tasty snack on Tuesdays during bingo night. They also give brewery tours every Saturday. Those are actually really, really cool. This is truly one of our favorite places to frequent, and we are so thankful to have the support of our friends at Gnarly Barley. You can visit the tap room in Hammond, Louisiana, or check out their website at gnarlybeer.com. That's GNARLY beer.com. Thank you again to our amazing pals at Gnarly Barley Brewing, who are doing it their way in Hammond, LA. So it first opened its doors in 1736 at the intersection of Charles Street and Bienville Street.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Hospital of St. John at the time. Quickly outgrowing the first location, a second hospital was built in 1743 at the edge of the colony near Basin Street.
Okay.
A third hospital was built in 1785, and this was named the San Carlos Hospital, and that was in honor of King Charles III because New Orleans had recently ceded to Spain.
Okay.
In 1809, a fire destroyed the hospital, so it moved to a few like temporary sites before 1832 when a fifth hospital was built on Common Street, which is modern day Tulane Avenue. And that was under the administration of the Daughters of Charity, who would run that for the next century.
Okay, so the name Charity comes from them.
Correct.
Okay.
Because the hospital that was actually destroyed in the fire didn't know this. You want to know what stands there today? The Roosevelt Hotel in New Orleans.
Cool.
Right?
I love going there at Christmas time.
I know. Oh, I always try to go and get me a little glass of Sazerac.
If
Take some
anybody is
pictures.
looking for something to do, like at Christmas time, like that's one of my favorite times to visit New Orleans. Get dressed up
Yep.
and go to every fancy hotel bar in New Orleans and get a drink at every one. Now you'll be stumbling back to your hotel room, which is
Uber.
fine. Uber.
That's why they made Uber.
But it is so much fun. I look forward to that every year.
And the vibe in the city is different during Christmas. New Orleans is so beautiful during Christmas.
And those hotels, they spare no expense on decorations. You hear me? It's like a little New York, like a little New York City with the decor.
It is.
Yeah.
For sure. We might not have snow, but we got alcohol. You'll have a good time. I promise you that. In 1939, the new structure, which is what we're familiar with today.
Okay.
Which a lot of people call, for obvious reasons, Big Charity.
Oh, okay.
So in 1939, that's built. And if you look at it, it's built in the shape of an H. My super blonde self was like, oh, hospital.
H for hospital.
Literally.
No.
I was like, oh, so like they can see it from the sky. It's a hospital. No. It's way worse.
Okay.
They built it in the like shape of an H to comply with segregation laws at the time.
Ew, I thought it was going to be something fun.
No, not at all.
Well,
because it's also an educational hospital at this time.
Okay.
So right before that, when I was researching, they said that it was occupied by Tulane Medical and LSU Medical. So they were saying if you had an even number badge, like as a patient, you were looked over after like Tulane. If you had an odd number, you were looked after by LSU. So I was like, that's why they did the H. No.
Cool.
Which is kind of like a little sad. Well, in sorry. Let me not get ahead of myself. Sorry, I'm very passionate about this one.
It's okay.
It's a lot. It was thought to be the largest hospital in the world at the time, which this kind of brings me back to a prior episode. Things like that in Louisiana just sometimes don't feel like they fit.
Louisiana's not top of mind when you think of like first, only, biggest.
And especially structurally.
Correct.
Because like our capital, the tallest
one in the country.
In Louisiana. Like it blows your mind.
Yeah.
So this is thought to be the largest operating hospital in the world at the time. It's in New Orleans. Do you know who was responsible for that?
Santa?
No.
Oh.
Federal and state money that was put aside during Huey P. Long's
He just
regime.
keeps coming back.
Right?
That old kingfish.
I was like, man, how did I not catch that in the last episode?
Which that episode has gotten a lot of, it's elicited a lot of comments on TikTok because we've posted a couple of those clips.
Oh, yeah.
And people are like, he actually did a lot of good for the state. And we're like, please listen to the episode. We talk about it.
Literally, actually listen to it.
We promise we talk about all of it, but
exactly.
He just keeps coming back.
Exactly.
Oh, Huey P. What did the P stand for? I don't know. Sorry.
I don't know.
I was thinking about that on the way here.
I want to say Perry. Where's Perry? I want to say Perry. I don't know. I have no idea. So in 1990, I think it was the early 90s, LSU takes control over charity.
Okay.
Now it's still operating like it was when it was first founded. It's still, you're not asked how are you going to pay, blah, blah, blah. It's still very much like the spirit of charity, which I love. Well, they had been wanting to build a new hospital that would serve two purposes.
Okay.
Kind of mix charity and more commercial, more like private stuff like that, to where like it could
privatized healthcare and
yes,
yeah,
correct. So you get where I'm going with that. So they present that to like the medical office chancellor of Louisiana,
the grand
the
Dumbledore,
Grand
the grand Dumbledores of medicine.
Correct.
I don't know what they're called.
Guess when they presented that plan?
Oh, did it start with an 18 or a 19?
2000.
Oh.
July of 2005.
Oh, no. A month before.
A month before.
Bro.
So August 29th, 2005, Hurricane Katrina makes landfall.
Mm-hmm.
After the storm passes, which this fact is a lot of things people don't realize, the major catastrophe in New Orleans hadn't happened yet.
Right.
Katrina came and went.
Right. The storm.
The storm came and went. And New Orleans was still semi-okay at this point, because a hurricane is mainly a wind event.
Mm-hmm.
Now it pushes up storm surge and things like that.
And trees fall and...
Correct.
Yeah.
But the levee hadn't broken yet. So after Katrina passes, they're able to walk outside of Big Charity, assess damage, see what windows were blown out, stuff like that. By 2 a.m. the next morning, the night shift nurses were waking up their colleagues to tell them that the levees had broke and New Orleans has started to fill. Because if you look at, this, but if you look at New Orleans from like an elevation map standpoint, New Orleans is a bowl.
Yep.
Like we have got gigantic pumps that you see like when you're on I-12, you see these giant buildings. They're giant pump stations. So when things like that happen, we rely on actual mechanical pumps to keep our city dry.
Right.
And not full of water, which that couldn't happen during Katrina.
And I think a lot of people, when they're on the outside looking in, if they're not from this area, a lot of people have the question, like, why didn't they leave? And there's 2 points that I'd like to make about that. The first is that the levees were the issue.
Right.
Like, that's what caused the catastrophic flooding that we saw.
Katrina was almost a man-made disaster.
Right.
Because our levees didn't hold.
But the second thing is that hurricanes happen so often here that 9 times out of 10, people ride them out.
Oh, yeah.
I can count maybe 1 to 2 times that we've ever evacuated before a hurricane. Like knowing it was coming and being like, maybe we should leave. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. I'm trying to think. We rode out Katrina. We rode out Ida.
I didn't.
Oh, that's true. You and Michael.
We left and went to Texas.
I didn't leave till after. I couldn't leave.
So
because of work.
People always ask, why did they not leave? One, a lot of people in New Orleans didn't have the ability to leave, whether it was the transportation or the money.
Right.
But 2, most people don't leave anyway.
No.
Unless
you don't want to leave your home.
Right. And it's even like the hospital staff, because I have a lot of friends that work in hospitals, and I've asked them before, when like a storm's coming and you have to go to work, what do you do? And they all say, we pack a bag. We pack like a suitcase.
Because you're going to stay at the hospital.
We don't know when we're going to be able to leave. We don't know if we're going to be able to get out, if people can get to us. So we pack and we go there thinking we might be here for a week.
Right.
And I'm assuming...
Which you very well probably will be there.
And I'm assuming those people did that at Charity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So once the levee breaks, within hours, the basement of Charity Hospital is full of water.
Sheesh.
The basement houses the 2 backup generators for the hospital.
Why?
I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, you also have to remember this hospital was built in 1939.
So, yeah.
So in my head, that's because immediately I was like, you don't build a basement in Louisiana, especially South Louisiana. It's going to fill with water.
And back then, a lot of times that was where people had like their storage,
right?
Like cool storage.
And
but
I've never been to Charity before because if you look at it, because obviously, we're not from there.
Right.
It looks like the first floor you kind of drove up a little to. So I'm thinking their basement was actually the first floor.
It just feels like, why would you not move them like at least to the second floor?
Or to the roof.
Yeah. Maybe they're heavy. I don't know. I'm not a...
Oh, they're huge.
I'm not an engineer.
Generators the size of this room. They have to run a hospital. But
the point is they're no longer... They're gone.
Oh, they're still rolling.
Oh, okay.
For a while.
Okay.
But that's where the 2 backup generators and the sewer.
Bro, I forget about the sewer.
Yeah. So that's where all of it
it's just sitting there.
Is process.
It's just cooking.
Yeah. So as the water continued to rise, nurses and staff at Charity had to move each patient to the second floor auditorium.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that.
Have
Like,
the
let's
lights
just
gone
stop.
out? Have the
Not
lights
yet.
Okay.
Let's just think about that part. So you
Mm-hmm.
see that, say you're a nurse there. You see water is starting to slowly rise. I say slowly, but
Mm-hmm.
water's rising. So they have to take every person, because they're not using an elevator. Because what if the power goes out when you're in the elevator?
Dude, I didn't even think about that.
Every patient,
They had
they're
to walk
having
them up
to
the stairs.
move up flights of stairs.
Shoot. The Lord picked the correct profession for me to just talk into a microphone and not
Bro,
be responsible for other
because
people's
like
lives.
that alone, I would be like, I need
You would need medical attention.
100%. Somebody give me some oxygen. I would be done. Absolutely done. So they move everyone to the second floor auditorium
Okay.
because that's where they are the most safe at the time.
Mhm.
And I think maybe it wasn't around like a bunch of exterior windows,
Mhm.
maybe because a lot were blown out during the storm actually passing. Well, a few hours later, the generators go out. And this is in the middle of the night, the
Mhm.
entire hospital is immediately plunged into darkness. So you have to think, one, think about you can't see anymore. Two, ventilators.
Air conditioning.
Well, oh, duh. But like, think of all the medical equipment.
Right.
There's like life-sustaining
People are on life
things.
support.
Oh, yeah.
People are.
Like it's.
Here's another thing about the electricity going out too that I don't think a lot of people think about unless they've experienced it. The quiet is the weird
It's
thing.
so eerie.
Because you don't realize when you're in your home and you have so many electronics running, like
100%.
your refrigerator, your ice machine, your
Yep.
TV, your fan. When that goes like, boom,
Oh, I
it
hate
gets
that.
eerily quiet.
I can't stand
And it
that.
makes you like so aware of what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate that noise so much.
It is now time for the segment we would like to call Stop Embarrassing Yourself. You're pronouncing that wrong. And today's word is,
Couillon.
oh, do you know how to spell it?
I don't. Don't ask me that. Are you kidding? I'm not hooked on phonics.
Hold on. We're going to have to figure out how to spell it. But
Couillon?
Jonah's got it. Couyon. Couillon.
Couillon. And that basically means like stupid, an outsider, like, oh, you couillon. Go to bed, couillon.
See, I feel like there's other spellings of it too. Let's see. It's also Couillon.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
But it basically means like.
Does it mean testicle?
No,
That's
I don't know.
what Wikipedia says. Hold on.
Not in Louisiana, it don't.
It means a fool.
Yeah.
It's Cajun French for a
stupid.
foolish person.
Exactly.
A testicle.
Couillon, not a testicle.
It might be the root word
But
of
honestly, if I'm calling you a couillon, I probably would call you a testicle too.
it.
Honestly, period.
Couillon.
Couillon. Go to bed, couillon.
Couillon.
So by Tuesday night, August 30th, one day after the storm, Charity Hospital was without water,
Mm-hmm.
power, bathroom, and almost like all hope was gone.
All life-saving medical
Literally.
supplies, machines.
This is where we start getting into like the nitty gritty. 96 hours after the levees break, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who was the chief medical correspondent for CNN at the time,
Okay.
hears Governor Blanco's office, who at the time, Governor Kathleen Blanco was the governor of Louisiana. Here's a broadcast that Governor Blanco's office reported that all hospitals had been evacuated.
What?
All hospitals had been evacuated.
How many people do you know how many people were in the hospital at the time?
At least 200.
Shut up.
Which, like...
And they didn't think to check literally the state's biggest hospital?
I don't know how a mess up like that happens. It made me mad enough to chew a brick. Like, can you imagine
being in the dark?
at Charity Hospital and hearing our governor
Right.
say, "Oh, all of our patients have been evacuated. Like, we're good to go.
We've taken care of it. Thank y'all so much. Yeah, like we've got everybody out. We're good." And you're sitting there going, "No,
literally.
please come help me. Please come get me."
So they hear that.
Bro.
And staff and patients begin stripping unused bed sheets and writing in big letters things like, "We are still here and the spirit of charity lives on."
And hanging them out the windows.
I just got chills. Hanging them out of the windows to let anyone know that they're still there.
Crap.
Isn't that horrible?
Mm-hmm.
And first off, Governor Blanco, whatever, how do you mess up that bad?
And it's like, I've heard it say, "Oh, we got bad intelligence. We got bad this. We got bad."
No, Mama, you had no intelligence that day, apparently.
And it wasn't like you walked, you checked all the hospitals and you missed like one person. You know what I mean?
No.
You missed an entire.
Correct.
The biggest hospital we have.
Correct. Because Tulane Medical, right up the road, which
was evacuated?
No, they still weren't.
Oh, but they were getting help.
They were getting help.
Okay, I see what you mean.
But I'm like, even if you I'm gonna try to keep politics out of that. Even if you're like, okay, Tulane, because Tulane Medical, that's a private hospital. I'm pretty sure.
To my knowledge, it is, but I don't know.
Sure, I'm pretty sure at this time, at least it was. They still weren't evacuated.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're going off of, as horrible as that sounds, if you're going off of like, let's get the insured out first or blah, blah, blah.
Shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't at all. At all. But like, how do you mess up that?
To make such a blanket statement, like we've gotten everybody out when we haven't gotten a single person out.
No.
Yeah.
Like Charity, they had a few that could get to Baton Rouge before, but like there's over 200 people that still need help that are, first of all, you're in the hospital already.
Right.
So you're there for a reason. So they're in the dark. They're all still working. Respiratory therapist Star Page recounts a story of when she had to hand bag a patient for hours, which that means the ventilator that this patient is hooked to, obviously it needs electricity. It's not working anymore.
Because it's like physically filling their lungs.
For you. Correct. So there's a tube coming out of this man, his throat. She's handbagging him for hours.
So like at literally every breath.
She's doing.
Oh my God.
And this is where, like, in my head, like, this is so where you start to see like Louisiana kicking in. Because I've always said in my head, the only decent byproduct that a hurricane gives us is like a strong sense of community.
Like people power.
100%.
Yeah.
Like the world needed people to go through crazy things every now and then and come out stronger before. So God made Cajun people. Like, and could not be closer to the truth.
Well, what is my theory all the time when I watch all my zombie movies? Who are the people that survive? Rednecks,
Cajuns. If you're below I-10, I'm coming to your house.
You gonna make it.
Yeah.
What do we say all the time? Like, we play this game at our house, and people have heard me talk about this before.
The end of the world?
If there's this is a fun game for you to play with your own family.
Oh.
Take the people you're in the room with, your immediate family, people who live in your house, whatever. Let's say the zombie apocalypse happens. And
me and your husband, let me tell you something. Me and my brother-in-law are indoor cats.
They're indoor cats. Yeah.
No.
Who in your family do you protect at all costs because they are going to help you survive? And then who do you immediately get rid of because they're a liability? And every time we talk about it.
Me.
We get rid of Caleb, and Caleb's going to go willingly.
100.
If the zombies come?
I've never been without air conditioner for more than about a week. I can't.
Caleb said, I need amenities.
I can't do that.
Yeah. So if you know the zombies are coming or there's a world ending
y'all protect
event,
Dad and good luck to you.
You go find a redneck and you're going to be all right.
That's true. So anyway, respiratory therapist Star Page recounts a story of when she had to handbag a patient for hours. when a nurse runs up to her and there's a super duper life threatening situation happen. So they're trying to gather all nurses to come help this other patient. She starts explaining, I can't leave because I'm handbagging this patient. The patient taps her and mimics bagging to her and grabs the bag himself and starts handbagging himself.
Oh my God.
To free her to go help somebody else.
Did that man make it?
I think he did.
I hope so.
From what I could tell, he did.
Bless his heart.
Like a resilient story. So while Tulane Medical is being evacuated by helicopters right down the road, Charity Hospital is watching just streets away while their patients are literally still being ventilated by hand and dying on the parking lot ramps.
Holy crap.
So, like,
I have a question. Were there any pregnant women were there people in labor?
Lots of babies.
That is my nightmare
during this time. And I'm pretty sure they all survived.
Oh, thank God.
I'm
now that you say that, I am so terrified of giving birth in good conditions.
Could you imagine being in Charity Hospital after Katrina? The bottom floors are filled with water. It's hot as Hades.
I literally cannot have a baby in this weather.
Have a baby in that weather. Like
you can't get an epidural.
No.
You can't get
nothing.
It's like, hey, we're back on Little House on the Prairie, and you're just gonna have to make it. I don't know if I could do it.
And that goes into my next point, actually, because during that time they couldn't even think about something as simple as getting an X-ray ordered when you go to a hospital. So they couldn't order X-rays. They couldn't look at their like codes, I think is what they call it, for their patients. Like all technology is gone. So they're relying on like physical diagnosis and their knowledge of medicine.
They can't like put you in the CAT scan and
figure out what happened.
You're so right.
Yeah. So they're going off of their knowledge of medicine. And this one patient said like, the best medicine during that time was when my nurse would come check on me. She'd hug me and tell me I was going to be okay. And that was medicine enough.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Gnarly Barley Brewing Company in Hammond, Louisiana. If you're a beer enthusiast and looking for something new to tickle those taste buds, Gnarly Barley has got a treat for you. Introducing House Marg. This is indeed the House Marg. Gnarly's zesty new year-round brew that's bringing a margarita twist to the world of beer. Little ASMR for you. This margarita goza is infused with tangerine, lime, and just the right touch of salt, and it's perfect for any time of year. Whether you're lounging by the water or looking to cool off on your back porch, House Marg is here to elevate your sipping experience. We go to Gnarly Barley, at least several times a month. This was where our launch party was. Thanks again, by the way. It was a lot of fun. And this really has become one of my favorite beers. My favorite used to be Strawberry Catahoula Common, and this is now my favorite because it has those margarita vibes. This to me is like the perfect beach beer river beer or lake beer. It's perfect day drinking vibes. Oh, yeah. Love it. And it says a lot that I love this because I'm usually not a big beer drinker normally unless it's Gnarly Barley, and I really do love this beer. So you can find all of these incredible brews throughout Louisiana and the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. Just ask for Gnarly Barley, or you can visit them in person in Hammond, Louisiana, and check out their website at gnarlybeer.com. That's GNARLY beer.com. Thank you again to our amazing friends at Gnarly Barley Brewing who are doing it their way in Hammond, LA. Cheers. Yeah.
Like it just...
It's like, it's the Civil War. It's literally like...
Basically.
Like, here's all we can give you is a hug and maybe a shot of whiskey before we operate.
Exactly. Heretta Nunez, an ICU nurse supervisor, states that we had made up our minds. We came in here together. We are in this together. We will get through this together. It was the spirit of charity. I might die with my uniform on me, with Charity Hospital's insignia on me, but nobody can ever say that Mother Charity abandoned her patients.
Dude.
That is so sad. Ooh.
And like, here's another thing about the people that work there too. You don't think about them as people. Like, we see them as medical staff and we
Right.
expect them at all times to do their job to the best of their ability. But you forget they've been there days on end. They don't know if their house is still standing.
Correct.
They haven't talked to their family. They don't know if they're where their families are.
Correct.
There's like cell phones did not work. There was no
Literally.
Facebook. There was no communication. All you had in most places was an AM radio.
Literally.
And that's all you could get. And
100%.
so that says even more to me about these people is that they are doing all of this on top of not knowing, like, I might not have a house when I get out of here.
And a lot of them
right.
didn't.
I don't know where my family is. I don't know if my family's alive or dead. So,
exactly.
Geez and Pete's, you got me going.
Oh, this is another one.
Okay.
So Mooney Bryant Penland,
great name,
who's an ER nurse supervisor at the time, recounts getting a message from a fellow staff member while she was caring for a patient. There's someone in a flatboat on the steps of Big Charity asking for you. She walks out. Her father had came from Baton Rouge.
Oh my God, I just got goosebumps.
Took a flatboat through flooded New Orleans to go get his daughter.
If that ain't Kelly
I know.
Morse.
And we've got to, I can find this picture.
Okay.
It is the most like Louisiana thing ever. Like it's literally a dad in a flatboat coming to get his daughter
with an Evinrude handheld motor.
Like,
and
he's just chilling in white shrimp boots, like in the picture. It's
Do
amazing.
you know what his name is? Can we find his name?
I have it in my, I think I have it in my show notes.
We will find whoever you are. If they are still around, we will send them Big Bad Boot shirts.
Oh yeah.
Because that got me. If that is something our dad would do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So they hug each other. She finds out her family is okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're all alive. So that's great. She said it was a great day for her. He then tells her, get in the boat, you're coming home, and she refuses.
Oh. Sorry, there was a bug.
No, you're good. You're
okay.
good. So she reluctantly tells her dad, he reluctantly leaves because she said basically like, Mother Charity needs me. I'm not going anywhere. I've got to stay here.
Come on, PK, put on some gloves. You're hired. You got to come help us.
Exactly. She basically just tells him, I'm not leaving my patients, which is amazing.
We love her.
I know. So the dad leaves. The dad gets back on his flatboat, literally, which I think it is so crazy for other people to like picture, but like I have ridden down a street in a flatboat that an hour or two before I could drive down.
Right.
We've both cleaned out a house that was wrecked by a hurricane and had 4 feet of water in it.
Yep.
Like this is things that actually do happen.
It's not a fairy tale. Like it's not
right.
made up for clout. Like this
say you're from Arizona. Can you picture like driving down the interstate in Arizona in a boat?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's crazy to even fathom. But he leaves. He gets back in his flatboat, gets back to his truck. He doesn't get cell phone service until he gets halfway between New Orleans and Baton Rouge, which during this time probably took him 5 hours.
Yeah.
To get back to where he had cell phone service. He calls his really good friend, who is a state senator. Lets him know Charity Hospital is still full of people.
And fully functioning.
And stranded.
Yeah.
Luckily, the state senator is standing next to the second in command for the enforcement of wildlife and fisheries.
The head rednecks in charge,
Literally.
baby. Let's go.
So within hours, airboats are swarming Charity Hospital and have started putting patients on the airboats to get them to Tulane Medical, to get them to the top of Tulane Medical so they can get on the helipad and be evacuated.
Boudreaux and Thibodeau said, get in, sis.
Literally.
We got you.
Isn't that crazy?
That's cool.
So like a lot of these people, like every piece of research I did, every single one of them said we credit our salvation to the wildlife and fishery of Louisiana.
And yeah. And the people that took care of us when they could have left, but they didn't.
Exactly. Again, thanks, Kathleen Blanco. Thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing, Kathleen Blanco.
A patient recounts Once wildlife and fisheries showed up, it was like that scene in a war movie where you knew a change was coming. We had been losing, but the change was finally here. Katrina was not going to win this battle.
Wow.
Man, that's so sad. So they successfully evacuate all the patients. They did have a few that unfortunately did pass away, and they passed away literally on the parking ramp waiting to be evacuated. So like they just missed it.
Yeah.
Which is so sad. But after 269 years of operation, Charity closed its doors for the last time.
After that.
After Katrina.
Wow.
Which blows my mind because I'm like, okay, this hospital survived for 269 years. And in the day we lived in with all our technology and blah, 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 it got taken out.
Yeah.
Like it makes me so upset.
No, I think there were more forces at work that were beyond the control.
There
like
were.
business decisions and things like that.
No, not business. Politics.
Yeah.
Because I was going to turn this into a 2-part episode because the politics that went into not reopening Charity is absolutely disgusting. It made me so incredibly mad. It was ridiculous. So, do you know, have you ever seen the guy, John Kennedy? He was the state treasurer.
Yeah, I think.
And he's super country.
Yeah.
And he's still a politician in Louisiana.
Is that the guy that says something about a crackhead?
Yes.
Okay.
Next time you're in trouble, call a crackhead. Him. I love him.
For pure character entertainment.
He's amazing.
Genius.
But he's very real. And he did an interview that I watched, and he was saying that in the days and weeks after Katrina, all these people worked to clean and get Charity Hospital ready.
Yeah.
To like reopen because New Orleans is not New Orleans without Charity Hospital at all.
Right.
So he goes in there. They say, Mr. Kennedy, he's the state treasurer at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They said, you can't go in. It's a hazard. He said, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I do not care. Let me go in. So he talked about how he went in. The basement was the cleanest it had ever been. They cleaned it, repaired it, sanitized it. All the way up to the 3rd floor, which was the psych ward, like the psychiatric unit. All of that was cleaned and ready to go. Do you know, ever since Charity Hospital closed, the biggest provider of psychiatric care is in the state of Louisiana? The penitentiary system.
So you don't get it unless you go to prison?
Like, that's just the biggest provider of it right now.
Like in one place.
Right. It used to be Big Charity.
Wow.
So if you look at Charity Hospital now, it is locked up like Fort Knox. You cannot get in there. One of the guys on the interview said they locked it up because they're hiding something sinister inside. And they said, what are they hiding? And he said, a fully functioning hospital. They're hiding a building that could have been a fully functioning hospital.
I thought you were about to say like a Voldemort.
No, like they're hiding that it's fully functional.
Right.
If you Google pictures of Charity after Katrina, you're going to see pictures of blown out windows, equipment turned over like crazy. All these people that were interviewed said, we cleaned it up. We walked through there. We were ready. We were trying to get approval for this to be fixed. And then a few days later, they walked through it. There's equipment turned over. There was
so after they had went and cleaned it.
There's water running down an elevator shaft. They went and found it. Someone had put towels in a drain of the 4th floor bathroom and turned the water on. Because I'm not going to super dive into it.
So
but
we think the goal was that they no longer wanted to provide no longer free healthcare.
Because it was ran by LSU, who was trying to open the hospital in New Orleans now.
Oh.
So FEMA apparently came out and said, with $24 million, we can get Charity open and running again. John Kennedy said he was touring Big Charity right after they had cleaned it. He said, I heard an official say, we can't let cameras in here. If people see this, we're never going to get that new hospital.
Wow.
So it would take about, I think it was 24 million to get charity back to where it could run again. It cost millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to get our new hospital, which provided semi-private care.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think they should do?
What?
I think they should try to renovate it and open it as a homeless shelter.
What a novel idea, bud.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And maybe
do something with it.
Provide some of those services that no longer exist or no longer exist in the capacity that they once did.
Exactly.
For those people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the story of Big Charity in New Orleans. And if you worked at Charity during that time,
or if you know anybody that did,
please let us know. And God bless them. God keep them. Like crazy.
And
like
there's a lot of stories.
Are just built different.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. Like, we really are.
I mean, you could have picked a dozen different stories that were very similar to this in different places all around the city where people were doing stuff like this in their own little bubbles.
Oh, yeah.
While New Orleans was flooding.
Oh, yeah.
And in the days and weeks and months afterwards.
Yes. The sense of community that happens in Louisiana after destruction hits, after a hurricane passes, is crazy. It's the only good byproduct of a hurricane.
Yeah.
Is like the sense of, I always feel this sense of like pride and like empowerment when you're helping a neighbor and you're just all working together as a community to fix everything, you know?
I love that. That was good. That was a good one. That was a hard one to tackle.
It was, but it was worth it, I think.
I love that.
Thanks.
Well, good job. I'm very proud of you for tackling that. That was a biggie.
It was.
Anything related to Katrina is like a biggie.
It is.
But anything else for the good of the group?
Nope.
Well, cheers. Good job.
I'm empty. I'll get another one.
Empty?
It's too good.
It is really good. And thanks again to Gnarly Barley for supplying us with our shirts for today, for this episode, and for our drinkies. We needed them after that episode.
Zach and Carrie and the whole crew over there. We love you guys.
Thank you. And for all of our listeners and everybody out there, remember, God made you.
And the Rougarou too.
So be kind to one another.
Bye. The Big Bad Boot is produced by Lettuce Media and edited by Mallory and Jonah.
Our music was produced by Macro Tracks. Our super cool logo was designed by AWC Graphics. And our sense of humor and childhood trauma was sponsored by Kelly and Abby Morse.